Sabir Muhammad. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. I was born April 14, 1976 in Louisville, Kentucky. My first swim team experience was really an interesting story. When I was about 7 years old, my mom took a job at a pool in Atlanta in an area called Perry Homes. Perry Homes was a housing project back then. And I would go with her after school every day. And I'd just kind of sit and do my homework or play. And there was a family there by the name of the Bashirs, and their father was the aquatic director of that facility. And he had in his mind the notion of building a swim team. And when I arrived there, his 6 kids at the time were all kind of great swimmers, and there were a couple other swimmers, and they had formed a novice team, and they asked me if I'd like to join. That team went on to become the City of Atlanta Dolphins swim team, and I swam on the City of Atlanta Dolphins swim team for my entire age group career. Definitely the coach that has had the greatest impact on my development has to be Tommy Jackson, who's actually still coaching for the City of Atlanta Dolphins. The relationship that Tommy and I had it was a lot closer than swimmer-coach. It was closer to a father-son type relationship. And so Coach Jackson really impressed on me hard work, a commitment to your plan. He prepared me for what would become elite swimming. He told me that, as you continue down this path, you will have fewer and fewer of your friends alongside you as you compete and become a great swimmer, and you need to be prepared for that. So I think in terms of preparing me for the next level, Coach Tommy did an excellent job. Other coaches that I can think of that had positive impacts on me are definitely Pablo Morales, who was my coach at Stanford during my time there. Skip Kinney was a coach at Stanford. Ted Knapp, a coach at Stanford. And then as a post-grad, I had an opportunity to work with David Marsh, who was an excellent coach, and he brought a new perspective that I'd never seen in a coach, that of almost a Constant Gardner type. I come from Stanford, which was, it was a very competitive space on a daily basis, whereas Marsh had a more cultative approach to the sport, and I appreciated my time with him. And there's another coach that I really don't want to forget, and his name is Andy Dykert, and I trained with Andy during my time in Hawaii, and that was one of the more productive periods of racing in my life. And Andy, he helped me to really understand what it takes to race and develop the right mindset to become a racer. And he helped me with developing my athleticism and just the right attitude to compete at a high level. This whole notion of trailblazing, I think I was fortunate to embrace that role, because that was the perspective of my entire team, right? So I started with the City of Atlanta Dolphins team in a housing project on the west side of Atlanta. It was a minority team, and really our parents instilled in us this notion that we could do anything at a very young age. I call it a license to dream, and they gave us that license very early. And with it came this notion that if someone tells you you can't do something, you have to prove them wrong. And so I embraced that idea of a trailblazer because at the time I thought it was nonsense that people in the world would consider a sport or a person's potential in a sport based upon their race. It was definitely something I embraced. It was something my family embraced, and it was something my community embraced. And I think it gave us a sense of purpose outside of just sport, which allowed me to work a lot harder than I think I normally would have had I not had that challenge in front of me. When I talk about the impact swimming's had on my life, I have to. I think the best metaphor, especially when I'm trying to relate it to a younger audience, is the story of the giving tree. And this story, the giving tree, is about a boy who grew up with a tree, and the tree was there for him his entire life. And I feel that same way about the sport of swimming, right? So as a kid, swimming was all fun. It was entertainment. It was a way to stay cool in the summertime. Really loved the sport for that. And then as I matured a bit, I needed things, right? So the first thing that a young person needs is education, right? And swimming was able to provide me that education. I was a full scholarship athlete to Stanford University. After I graduated from college, I needed money, right? And I was fortunate enough to sign a sponsorship agreement with Speedo at the time, and that enabled me money to feed myself and to travel and to see the world. My wife was a swimmer. She swam at Dynamo. The greatest gift I've ever gotten as a person came from swimming. And in addition to being an incredibly great sport to stay fit, I see myself as I continue to age to continue to swim. So swimming for me has been the giving sport. It's given me so much. And the one thing about this sport is that I've recognized that I have to give back now. And I'm doing that with my swim school that I have in Atlanta, where we're teaching children of all backgrounds, regardless of their income levels, to swim. And that's something I feel very passionate about today.